Hi, and welcome to the GreenStaxx podcast, Thinking Inside the Box. I'm Julia Hansen, your host, and I'm the Director of Business Development and Partnerships at GreenStaxx. Our aim for this mini-series is to host conversations that explore how standardized design can be a solution to advancing the modular multifamily construction industry, and thereby tackle the affordable housing crisis and create more healthier, more environmentally sound buildings. In this first episode of Thinking Inside the Box, I'm going to introduce Greens and give the backstory to how we arrived at our conviction that standardized design is the key piece of the puzzle for making modular multifamily housing deliver great homes at a lower cost. And I'll talk about what to expect for the rest of the series. So let's get into it. Developers of multifamily buildings face enormous challenges to make projects pencil out, especially these days given the interest rates. This is especially true when the project is intended to meet the price range of medium or low income earners or is located outside of the hottest real estate markets where rents tend to be lower. The GreenStaxx founders, Klipfel and Gwen Gnoyes, experienced this dilemma personally through their multifamily projects in the Boston area that they developed under their company Unihab, which was later reorganized as Oaktree Development. Gwen and Art wanted to create projects with a considerable affordable housing component in areas close by public transportation and done in a way to maximize the well-being of those living in the buildings. Over the course of several projects of different sizes and in different areas of the greater Boston metropolitan market, they realized that there were, in fact, not that many different ways to build a great one-bedroom apartment unit or a great 2 or 3 bedroom apartment unit for that matter. And they realized that, especially in the larger projects, the same unit typologies or unit designs tended to be repeated over and over. Throughout this time, Art was also fascinated by the potential of offsite modular construction, where the main structure of the building is done in a factory and then delivered to the project site and built up in a matter of days. Early in his career as an architect in the 1970s, Art had worked on a proposal for a huge design center in New York City, which would have had tons of exhibition space and thousands of housing units, all constructed off-site as modules and then delivered to the densest part of New York City. This project exemplified for Art how much more efficient the construction industry could become. At that time, in the 1970s, factory-built single-family homes were pretty well known, but doing larger scale modular projects was still a little bit new. For these larger projects, Art and Gwen believed that modular construction just needed to be done more in order to build up real-world examples of how this technology and process improves upon conventional construction. They pushed for each of their Unihab and Oaktree multifamily projects to be built using the modular manufacturing method. In this process, they developed libraries of standardized unit designs that were planned out to be as straightforward as possible to manufacture offsite and then be delivered as boxes to the project site. And those boxes would be stacked one on top of each other to create the building. Over the course of many such multifamily projects, they honed the unit design library, standardizing elements like the kitchens and bathrooms and utility closets so that they could be built as efficiently as possible in the factory and didn't have to be redesigned each time they started a new housing project. So this replicability inherent in the design gave each new project greater predictability. And replicability and predictability are going to be two topics that we talk a lot about in this podcast. So this is how GreenStaxx was born. Art and Gwen recognized that their own challenge as developers of multifamily projects could be met by using a standardized unit library, specifically designed for the modular construction process. They were driven by the belief that this could help unlock more and better housing all around. So Gwen and Art founded GreenStaxx in order to help other developers create more housing units more affordably. And so why the name GreenStaxx? In addition to their desire to build homes more affordably, Gwen and Art are also committed to making housing as environmentally friendly as possible. All of the units by default are designed with all-electric appliances, and they use heat pumps for heating and cooling. And additionally, modular construction just on its own is a lot more sustainable overall than regular construction. It reduces the amount of material waste, and the construction as a finished product is more airtight and better insulated than typical stick-built construction. One of the GreenStaxx libraries, which is designed after the iconic New England triple-decker typology was even designed to meet passive house standards. Also, Gwen and Art are active in many climate and environmental groups in the Boston area, which is coincidentally how I became acquainted with them. And so the commitment to leaving this world better than how we found it runs pretty deep in GreenStaxx's DNA. Now that we've covered who GreenStaxx is and what we're about, I'll take a minute to introduce the rest of this podcast. In this first mini-series of Thinking Inside the Box, we're going to focus on why we believe that standardized unit design is the key to unlocking more efficiencies in the modular multifamily construction industry and how it leads to more successful projects overall. So over the next 5 episodes, we're going to take a deep dive into a case study of using the GreenStaxx triple-decker design library in 2 different projects, one in Cambridge, Massachusetts, the other in Lowell, Massachusetts. And through these conversations, we're going to explore all the ways in which replicating a standardized design yielded a faster construction timeline and a better building product. In each episode, I'll introduce a key player for these 2 projects, and we're going to hear their insights and perspectives on how they navigated their piece of the puzzle of the modular construction process. With these conversations, our goal is to share GreenStaxx's experience and knowledge in leveraging standardized design for multifamily, and we'll share how we perfected our process so that others can learn from our experience, sometimes our mistakes, and so that as an industry, we can create better, greener, and more cost-effective housing. So I'll see you for our next episode with GreenStaxx Director of Product, Hans Havrisch, and we'll talk about industrialized construction and give you an in-depth view on the GreenStaxx standardized design libraries. Thank you for listening to Thinking Inside the Box, Advancing Modular Multifamily Construction. Please remember to subscribe if you like this episode and leave any comments or questions. The future is modular.